Hey guys, Spanners here. This is round 4 of our latest season of the Missed Apex iRacing Cup, and we're here at the historic Silverstone. Now, I'm not trying to recreate the great commentary of the likes of Stuffy or of Chris Stevens. I'm just having a watch-along. I was actually in this race last night, so my bias towards me will obviously be very biased, but there was a really dramatic reverse grid sprint race in race 2. Race 1 is much more about these guys up at the front showing what they can do and the pace that they can bring. So, here's how they lined up. Luke Power, and that's Kyle's little nephew, very, very fast driver, alongside Henny. Williams up there, the usual suspect, James Gill as well, who's really, really on fire this season. Dobbitsberger, Alex Smith, all expected to be up in the top there. Harper, very, very solid sports car driver, but we've got Greenhow, who's probably got a little bit of a nosebleed up there. As you can see, it takes a while to get down to me. A very disastrous qualifying for me. Couldn't really get a lap in 19th with race control Richard Molden behind me. So that's Danny Henny there in the red. This is the old start-finish straight at Silverstone. So they're going to go into Copse. Copse will be the first corner. That's the Hamilton-Verstappen corner. As the lights go from red to green, that's what we're looking out for. Green flag. And we see the cars come around the corner. What a great scene that is. So Danny Henny instantly up ahead. Can he make it into Copse? Now this is one where you're not really going to go two abreast without chaos. And off the track, there goes Luke Power. Loosely calls me the commentator in the bottom corner, and everybody gets away well. Now, spoilers for the sprint race, that does not happen in race 2, as we see Henny leading them through Maggots and Beckett's with Power, Gill, Williams and Dobbitsberger. Too many black liveries, guys. We're going to have a word with them about that. As we head now down the Hangar Straight. No, this is where the circuit detaches from the circuit we know now, because the whole village complex didn't exist. So we're going to go through the bridge complex now, and I think there we've got Alex Harper and Snodland battling. Oh, cars off track. That's Trumpets spinning around as he gets taken out by Tom Jenkins. And in the midfield there, another, I think that's Mike Stoner going into the back of a car. Dear. Poor Matt Trumpet. Hopefully the rest of his race day goes well. It's Danny Henny in the lead from Luke Power, James Gill, Williams, Dobbitsberger and Smith. So that's Dobbitsberger in the most black of the black cars there. Now James Gill hunting in 3rd place. It is very difficult to overtake here actually, and actually now we're going past the old, yeah, there we go. So instead of going down the new Wellington Straight, we're now going through Brooklands and Luffield. And then we come back down to the start-finish straight again as we fling it into Copse. So Henny there will just, I think, have a small dab of the brakes to get the front pointed in and stay in 6th gear. Now, you don't get a 1X there, but it is technically off track. So, we'll see. You are allowed to protest, people. But I think basically everyone was taking that line where they went all the way past the line, just onto the bit before the grass makes you lose adhesion. And that, I think, is Williams. No, it's not. Who's that? That is Snodland getting up close to Harper. Yeah, with Smith in the red and black. So here comes Snodland then as you go through Stowe, and it's down to 4th gear. Obviously, the car in front is robbing you of a little bit of downforce. It's not chronic. You can try and follow as you go into Club and then Vale. And this is what you'd recognise as the final corner in the modern circuit now. Really, really difficult. Whatever the config was yesterday, it was very hard to overtake. I think because the cars are quite planted here, it makes it harder for drivers to make a mistake. So you're looking for a big mistake, and you do get them. And then when that comes, you do have to pounce. Especially up here at the fighting end. So you've got James Gill starting to creep forward towards Luke Power, who doesn't look to be making any indent into Danny Henny. If anything, it looks like he's kind of falling a little bit into the clutches. Now, it doesn't seem like 0.7, 0.5 are big gaps. But yeah, if you've got someone 0.5 behind you, and they're steadily half a second behind you, you feel reasonably comfortable here. So Gill has to push on and try and get... He's got the learner driver livery. That's good. Okay, yeah, so Gill's got to try and push on here now and really just get within about half a second to start bothering Power as they kick up the dirt behind them through Maggots and Beckett's. I actually did that deliberately a couple of times to try and throw dirt into... It might have been Trumpets behind me. Whether or not it put them off. No, it was into Colin Ward. So we now see Dobbitsberger trying to get a run down the inside of Williams. Both very, very fast, solid drivers. Maybe just half a click off the pace of... Just half a setting off the pace of the likes of Henny and Power and Gill. Power and Gill, the two young'uns starting to really take command of this championship and give Henny something to worry about. Dobbitsberger, yeah, in the full black there. Now he's in that kind of danger zone, within 3/10, within 4/10, where you can start to make a move. As we see here, yeah, Gill now dropping back just a little bit. So tyre wear here, not a massive issue, but tyre thermal deg is an issue as well. So you start sliding around too much, especially with the rears here, and you start to lose a little bit of grip, a little bit of performance. Dobbitsberger unrelenting on the back of Williams. Ah, good. Well done, Uncle Steve, retrospectively. Yes, by the way, it's Uncle Steve Amy, who is producing this. And normally we'd have live commentary going on and bringing in drivers for interviews. Out of our control, we lost our commentator last second, so I do enjoy just getting up in the morning and re-watching this with you. Oh, where's my progress? I'm in 14th, yet to stop. Now, most drivers here, because they're not under pressure, obviously Richard Molden, race control, there is under pressure from Laurie Smith. Oh, Laurie. Me and he will have a moment in race 2. I like being able to talk about it with spoilers. What's the balance between spoilers and action? So yeah, Callum Hunter behind, and Laurie Smith not being able to break away there and having a good ongoing battle. Remember, P20 will start in P1 for the sprint race. Hence the relative chaos compared to this, which is just good racing. As we see Luke Power now starts to claw in. Henny, yeah, look at that gap, 0.4 now. That's where you start to feel a little bit worried. And Ellis on Ward. Now, Ward was more down on my pace over the course of the weekend. Tim much more towards those guys' paces up front that we've been watching, fighting for 12th here. So I would expect, ordinarily, Tim would be the one making a challenge. But you can defend here. And that's actually... Oh, and I'm behind them as well. Hooray! I'm 1.7 behind. But I'm not on the pace of this battle here. This section, which you don't see in the Grand Prix now, as you go into Brooklands and Luffield. So that's Brooklands normally from the Wellington Straight. It's a very fast left-hander and it's blind, and you're just brushing the brakes and hoping as you come over the crest of the apex that you've picked it correctly. Tim Ellis there, in what I would say is a classic colour scheme, isn't it? That blue and yellow. Back up to the front now then, and Luke Power. Yeah, he's gone back a little bit. So yeah, you make a little push to get up alongside or to get up near them, and then you maybe get a little bit of thermal deg and you might want to push back or lose a little bit of pace. Of course, Danny doesn't really have to worry about that, can control things, but going down the Hanger Straight with a 0.6 lead, you feel pretty good. Dobbitsberger in the background there. Oh, it's as if Steve psychically knew where I wanted to look. 1.5 seconds behind. Now, this is a genuine overtaking opportunity. It's a tight left-hander, and as you go into Club and Vale, get back on the power. Now, you are going to have a bit of a straight, but you can't get fully back on the power here. You have to ease it in. And this is a good draft. This is a good opportunity. Well done to Williams there. Blocking the inside is the right choice. It's going to be very difficult to go around the outside, and you have to give up way too much going into the bridge section there. Yeah, so Williams absolutely makes the correct choice, but he's not shaking him off yet as we fly up over that blind left-hander that I was talking about that looks a little bit like a pit lane entrance. EJ. That's another race team thing, sorry. Dobbitsberger now, yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Very patient on the entry to Luffield. Can't get on the power enough to get a really good run because it's Cops now. And 2 into 1 doesn't really go into Cops. If you stick your nose up the inside, the guy on the outside really does have a decision to make. Oh, look at that. See, to me, he's held that position by going off track. Dobby, race control. Make a complaint. Down the inside. Ooh, sensibly lifts. Sensibly, I think. I think that would have been a race-ending decision for both of them if he'd kept his nose in. Williams had already decided to go to that apex, but now he's in trouble from Williams. So now Williams and Smith, hang on. Yeah, sorry, Smith and Harper are suddenly on his tail. So we've got Alex Smith here, who's a very, very dangerous customer indeed. Doesn't quite get the apex on Stowe corner. The understeer there from the wash of the car ahead stops him quite sticking onto the gearbox. Yeah, and he's got now Harper behind him as well. Harper, incredibly adaptable. If this was sports cars, I think he would most likely be carving his way through this field a little bit quicker, but definitely fast enough to hang with the top guys. Harper with the classic racing green. Well, that's a cool little livery, isn't it, Sam? Very nice. So then, Williams still hanging on, but he's definitely creating a little bit of a train here for now. Yeah, look, they're getting very close. You can stick together with the slow speed stuff here through Luffield. It's about patience and you can sacrifice a little bit of the entry. You can get a little bit of out wider to try and get some kind of run going. But it's not a big run down to Copse, which is why we're struggling to see these well-matched drivers get past each other. Dobitzberger has a run to Copse, but he's going to be affected by the wash. Going to lose a little bit of front end. Both of them a little bit more within the track limits there. That's the most within the track limits. I've seen them through Mackett's and Beckett's. Shift down 1 to 5th gear. It's all about opening it up here for the right-hander towards the hanger straight. Can't quite get to the apex, so sacrificing a little bit of getting on the power time, which is why you can now see Smith on a little bit of a run there. So they're all within 3/10 of each other, Williams, Dobitzberger and Smith. Stowe's not a great place for a dive bomb. You can defend on the inside and the outside of Stowe. You can make a lunge here into Club. I think I've got Club and Vale the right way round. It's a dangerous place to make a lunge, but you can. Yeah, and here, I kept nearly losing the car here on acceleration. It just wants to walk out to the edge. And now, looking at these top guys, I was taking completely the wrong line all night. Okay, so this is where we separate from the modern circuit. And we head into the bridge section. It's all flat out through there after the first left-hander. And then up and over the blind crest to the left. No overtaking opportunities there, although you can get down into the next left-hander if someone overslows into Brooklands. Now, Luffield. Patience from Smith. Stalking. When do you choose to get the power on? You're really lingering on that throttle for a long time into Luffield. The Burgundy of Smith. Look, is that Burgundy? Yeah, I'd say Burgundy. Up front then, we've got Danny Henney, comfortably still ahead of Luke Power. And that gap has stretched a little bit, and now Gill is about a second out, it looks like, to Power. I was expecting Gill to make more of an inroad, but yeah, there's just raw power from Henney and Power. And that gap really has developed to Williams, who's ended up causing a little bit of a train, basically killed Dobitzberger and Smith's ambitions of getting up towards the podium. But yeah, Dobitzberger is now back in that dangerous territory. I'm not going to do the commentator thing. Will he make a move? No, just like the previous 10 laps. Not calling out every commentator. Look, some races, they go like this. If you line cars up in... There's a lot of good racing going on, but you line up cars in pace order, and you're going to make overtaking more difficult. So, yeah, in the sprint, there's a lot of overtaking. Dobitzberger determined now, I think, a bit between his teeth, pushing hard. And Williams, now I don't have the lap timings in front of me, but looking at the gap that's built to Gill, Williams is taking the odd defensive line. So there's a lot of action from the cockpit. It feels like you're very much in this chess match of a race. And from the outside, he's like, look at the pretty race cars going around. I can understand, though, why teams might get frustrated when they say, oh, I've had a great win, I don't know what it looked like from the outside. Sometimes you just have to say race cars go vroom. Meow. Who's that taking a little... That's Fruck Schmidt in the background there behind me. Oh, yeah, I get on the screen, yeah. I do a pit stop, and I had not practiced pit stops at all. But yeah, I was one of the earliest pit stop guys, and I'll tell you why. Because I was getting thermal deg in that battle with Smith, who was faster than me, and I was losing too much time defending, like Williams is doing. So I wanted to keep him behind me just for a little while, and then I thought, okay, now I can push on slightly cool tyres, and I'll try and hold that place to Smith. Now, these guys have got to all do their pit stop, and that will certainly shake some things up. So does anybody here fancy some clean air? And where is that clean air going to drop you? So, lap 9 of 8. This is, to me, where the tyres start overheating if you're just pushing without thinking about tyre saving at all. And I wasn't, and I was a little bit squirrely, so mine was starting to go. It will be affecting these guys too. But yeah, just to recap here then, Danny Henney is leading the race with Kyle Power's nephew, Nepo, no, very fast Luke Power, James Gill, makes the top 3. Williams in this fight holding up Dobbitsberger, Smith and Harper with Snodderland 7. And now Snodderland joining that group as well. So now Harper, from sitting on the back of that group, has got... No, Snodderland was there, wasn't he? He was having an overtaking pop at Harper, so actually he's fallen back a little bit. Sam Harper then going down into Copse. I was trying to listen there whether he was doing a big lift, what kind of lift he was taking. Really got the feeling I was over-slowing through Copse. The really best guys here in the F3s, they get it rotated. If you look at their data, they get it rotated in just such a magic way. And I go, if I pick the braking points and the line that Danny Henney does, I don't get the same exit, because it's just something, there's some magic sauce with the way they transfer the weight and get those cars rotated. As we watch Sam Harper now, up on the inside of Smith. Now, this is bold. Smith actually could have held on a little bit more, but it's a good squeeze from Smith. Then goes outside to get a good line and manages to get a cut back there. Sam Harper really forced to the inside, and then you're going to have to slow way too much to avoid the slide that Harper had. He basically would have just had to give up the position on the outside as well. So fantastic defending there from Alex Smith. Well done. Round of applause. Hooray! You did it. Oh, Dobbitsberger now really on the rear of Williams there. That was as we were going into the bridge section. But yeah, then you just stretch out. Here we go. Oh, we've got an onboard over the crest of that hill. Oh, darn it. Uncle Steve from yesterday. I want an onboard from the crest of the hill. So this is Snodderland, and now he can put some pressure on Sam Harper. Nothing behind him. Greenhow just a little bit back in the distance. And now, yeah, suddenly Snodderland smells blood in the water. And that's how it goes. You know, Harper just had to make that brave move. You had to make the run down the inside, really. You can't back out of that. I wonder if Smith made a mistake coming onto the hanger straight, and that's how they ended up in that position. Very easy to get to overslow through Maggots and Beckett. So as Dobbitsberger now has lost a little bit of that momentum, and has sat himself squarely between Williams and Smith, and Williams goes on another little adventure. Ooh, he likes his little adventures. Maybe that's what happened to Smith the lap before, as Dobbitsberger now has a run into Stowe. The outside is a brave place to try and hang it on. Really, you'll want the cutback, and Williams has checked up a little bit, I think. I think he's just, I think maybe delayed his acceleration to try and stop the cutback. And then there's another opportunity here for a cutback. Yeah, Dobbitsberger goes a wider entrance and a little bit of an earlier acceleration as you go through towards Abbey. And it's going to be very difficult now on this left-hander to hold anything onto the outside. Like I said, you're sacrificing way too much. He's squeezing Williams to try and make Williams compromise his entry into the bridge section. But that is giving Smith a good chance to have a run up the inside. And this is flat out now through the right-hander and then over the top of the crest to the left. He's got it, he's got it defended. And that puts Smith in trouble with Harper as well. So, I mean, that's awfully exciting for no position change at all. But yeah, well done to Dobbitsberger for that, just making that attempt through 3 successive corners. But yeah, very, very difficult to overtake here. Some of them, surely, one of them is going to be thinking about a pit stop now, as Smith and Snodderland go for it. They go for the pits. It's lap 12. So these guys have got 5 laps. They will be disqualified if they don't pit, and they'll probably run out of fuel. Some of the drivers fuel save. Can't remember why. I'm not good enough to remember why. As Andrew Sexton goes and has adventures in front of Tim Ellis and Colin Ward. Did I manage to stay in that battle? I'm currently sitting in 21st, but these guys have not pitted yet. Matt Trumpets is a lap down, and it looks like Tom Jenkinson, who took out Matt Trumpets. Has he pitted in sympathy to stay behind him, to race him? I've done that before. As Tim Ellis goes down the inside of Andrew Sexton. You'd think Tim Ellis, out of this three that we see on the graphics, is likely the faster of those three. But Sexton's a very dangerous customer as well. And knows how to defend a position. So Ellis is going to have to work for this P8. So none of the top 6 deciding to pit yet. What we have lost was Snodland was part of that. So yeah, so he's pitted. Snodland and Hunter have both pitted. So they might have a little bit of an undercut, an advantage. A, they're not in that Stephen Williams-induced train. And B, you get a slight tyre cooling in the pits, which might just take the edge off if you were struggling. And there we go. Sexton goes into the pits and releases Tim Ellis. I think Tim is on, yeah, because he's going to have to pit as well, I think, Tim. So he's not in that battle for the guys up front. With the guys up front, he is, he's just hanging on to the coattails there of Shane Cotter. That's Malden going into the pits. That's of no consequence. And Snodland is now up to Smith. So that's a net gain, I think, for Snodland, because he's up behind Smith with no Harper in between. Oh, look at that. That's another little adventure off track. The track limits here for getting a 1x or for getting an off-track slowdown penalty are quite lenient. That's really nice from Snodland there, opening up, going tight on the left-hander to open up the right-hander down to the hanger straight into Stowe. So that's one of the key overtaking positions, really managing your priorities through here. Yeah, there we go. That was Maggots and Beckett's as well. Dmitry Kurachkin there in between Anderson, EJ from Denmark, and Jose from, where's he from? Valencia. Some people getting some screen time there. Todd Owen, new to the series, and Callum Hunter, with our race control Richard Malden behind them. Now they are fighting for the 20th place, which is currently being held by Matthew Brittle, and in 19th is me, Spanners. Matt Trumpets, big move on. Oh, it's not, is that? That must be a lap's car up ahead. Yeah, everything's kind of settled down at the front, but Danny Henney's in third because he's pitted. I was like, what's happened? Danny Henney has pitted, so we have a new leader of the race. We've got Luke Power with what looks like a commanding lead on James Gill. We would follow James Gill ideally here just to see if he's sliding around a little bit, because he was losing a little bit of time, but looks like it's settled at around a second. Yeah, Danny Henney now 20 seconds behind, but he's not had any traffic, crucially. So he's pitted into clean air. He's in a solid third place. So that must mean that all our Harpers and Williams and Dobbertsbergers all pitted as well. So we've just got James Gill and Luke Power. So I've got to watch that gap, really, haven't I, between Power and Henney? No, whatever. I'll just see how it turns out. Just got to have a slurp of a drink. James Gill closing in on Luke Power. I should just replay the Discord chat, shouldn't I, that's going on? No, some people will get cancelled. Sam Harper then. He's now up to the back of Stephen Williams. As Dobbertsberger out of sync with the battle with Williams. So he's ahead. So Dobbertsberger's managed to come out of the pits ahead of Stephen Williams. And Sam Harper is now the one being held up. So the change there for that battle we've been watching for fourth place, with just Smith up ahead now holding fourth. He'll have to pit out of the way, but Dobbertsberger has found a way past Williams. And we've got a spin in the back. That looked to me like Smith. That looked like Smith to me. Yes, Smith dropping down the timing screens. And now we've got Stephen Williams holding his own up against Harper. I doubt he's going to be able to make inroads into Dobbitsberger. It looked like the pace from Dobbitsberger was a lot more in line with the guys up at the front. But now he's released and unleashed to show his pace. Tim Ellis then getting really a bit bogged down in the midfield of this 27-car field. Not able to get past Andrew Sexton. You need quite a big difference in pace or just an out-and-out mistake, I think, on this track. Luckily, in the sprint, there is a lot of mistakes and there is a lot of differences in pace because everyone gets stuck around in the last order. Oh, Smith. Oh, that's coming out of Luffield and just a good old-fashioned getting on the power too early and being very good at waiting to rejoin safely. Sexton then on what I think is Club and Vale. I get confused because I'm like, oh, the final corner, but it's not. It's like it's sector 3 here as they head down into Abbey and then into the bridge section. So now Stephen Williams then still holding up Harper, and Snodland is now a little bit away from that group. So having been on the tail of Harper for most of the race, now finds himself a little bit cut adrift. But in this field, I would take 8th. What's in net 7th? Because Smith is going to pit. Oh, got a bit exciting there for a minute, didn't it? Sometimes I feel like I could be a commentator. I mean, I have done karting commentary, but it always ends up with me kind of just being a bit like this. I'm not like locked in, dialed in as a commentator. To be a commentator, you have to take it a bit more seriously than I do. And you can't take life too seriously, you'll never get out alive. Ooh, what film was that from? It's Ryan Reynolds. Van Wilder. There we go. Stephen Williams. Now, look at that. Has somehow, I would not have bet on him closing that gap. So, yeah. He was up within 3/10 there for a moment and looks very racy against Dobbitsberger. So, looking at the gap, I'll monitor the gap from Dobbitsberger to James Gill here. As they have both pitted. And now Danny Henney has the lead back. Luke Power and James Gill. So as you were from the pit stops there, but Dobbitsberger some 6 seconds back. Is he now having to drive that ever so slightly defensive line? Oh, how the turntables have turned. Yeah, so I don't know if he's holding up the pack there as much as, say, Williams was earlier, because it looks like Harper is just struggling just to keep right on there. You would think, yeah, back to 0.7 now. Luke Power, though, looks like he's got a little bit of pace. Will we have a fight for the lead here? Stephen Williams now really on top of Dobbitsberger as they go out through Luffield to the start-finish straight. Not very long straight. And into Copse. Now, what's crucial here is, can Williams hold on and stay close? Why don't you just do the thing where you drive off track to get a better exit, like you have 45 other times, Williams? I stayed on track, like he could hear me. But actually, Dobbitsberger took a little bit of extra there, so I'm not sure there's any penalty, traction-wise or speed-wise, from walking about half a car width wide. So I think in this case, you may as well do it. Kicking up some dirt as they go onto the hanger straight. And Williams has got a run. Oh, I think he's got enough of a run here to be a nuisance. He's got enough of a run to maybe try and make it look like he's doing something, but opts to stick in the gearbox. And sometimes that can just put pressure on, and it makes you second guess your braking point as well, especially if you've got an idiot behind you. But that's not what Dobbitsberger has. That's a nice tight entry to the left-hander. And a little bit of a swap. Yeah, it's hard to get the rear planted. It's hard to get the traction down. Yeah, I really struggled all day out of that corner. Yeah, I wish we could go again now that I know what line those guys are taking. Up through to the bridge section, up and over the blind crest. Just got to stick as close as possible. Hope for a mistake into Brooklands. And then patience here now. Now go out wide, Stephen. No, not the inside. If you go out the inside, you can just delay and slow the car down behind you, which Williams actually did to the pack when Dobbitsberger got a good run earlier. Here's me giving these guys advice, can't touch them. Dobbitsberger phase shifts through those cones. Williams is up the inside, sticks a nose in. Dobbelsberger's got a decision to make, leaves enough room. And Williams ultimately, having had to sacrifice a little bit of exit speed there to avoid contact. That's good. Sticks his nose up the inside and lifts. To be fair, that is a courtesy that Dobbelsberger extended to him in the early laps as well. But yeah, what is going on with Dobbelsberger's pace now? So yeah, he's losing ground to those top guys, driving a little defensively. Has he overheated his tyres somehow? This is such a reversal of fortunes now as Stephen Williams becomes the hunter going into Stowe, down the inside, and he's going to have to work hard to make it stick. This is what Harper tried to do on Smith, but Dobbelsberger didn't quite squeeze Williams the same as Smith squeezed Harper, and he was able to hold that. Takes a defensive line into Club and Vale, and Dobbelsberger can't seem to do anything to fight back right now. Yeah, great move. You could see that Williams didn't have it all his own way going into the apex. There was a little bit of sliding. He's having to fight the steering a little bit. And you saw the result with Harper earlier with a bit of a four-wheel drift. Williams does enough to hold that. Yeah, that was a great overtake. You know, sometimes people they complain about races with low overtaking. When you get those moves, after all the great moves that Dobbelsberger tried to make, it's worth it as Danny Henny crosses the line with Luke Power close behind and James Gill stalking with a great podium. And as we see this battle we've been watching all race long, Stephen Williams triumphs in the end with Dobbelsberger, Harper, Snodderland and Cotter following behind. And actually, that battle ended up finishing as it had been all the way through. But I would say massive hats off to Harper for his great overtaking attempts on Smith. Amazing defending from Smith, who unfortunately had a spin towards the end of the race. And obviously to Dobbelsberger and to Williams for their fantastic fight up front as well. Yeah, really, really good race. I cannot tell you how tough it was to overtake. And Tim Ellis there managed to get past Sexton in the end. Smith recovered to an 11th. A great result there for Colin Ward. He'll be very happy with that. 12th, as will Jose Cog with 13th. Greenow, I think, after that great qualifying, will have wanted to have done a little better. And Smith had the pace to stay ahead of a charging Spanners. No, I wasn't charging. I was just holding on in there. In 16th. Top 20 was what I was aiming for realistically with some of the issues I'd had. And Molden and Hunter make up the front row for the reverse grid race that's coming up. Trumpets and Jenkins a long way down after their first lap incident as well. Brittle had a headset issue, I think, or no, a steering base issue.